pleasure to introduce Keith without much ado. Keith is Bachelor of Science in Engineering, Civil Chartered Engineer and Project Manager, Lead Auditor, First Aid. Keith has 25 years experience on major construction projects as engineer and quality manager in Zimbabwe, Mozambique, South Africa, UK, and Australia. He has presented his speeches to 16 international conferences relating to mental illness solution and wild eradication. Keith has published 3 articles in neurology journals in the United States and the United Kingdom. I think he'll take this opportunity to share with you the links that probably got to his journal so that you can have time to check it all and share. So welcome, Keith. And this is a Kenyan-based, for now, we have an audience only in Kenya. I think you are going to share with us every information that you got as regard to begging and mental illness. Karibu sana, and we appreciate you being with us today. Take the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that introduction. I appreciate you having me here. It's a great honor because although I'm in Australia, you can hear from the accent, I'm actually South African, so I'm African too. So I have a passion for Africa. I've worked all over Africa, and I still, at the moment, from Australia, I work with a lot of people with mental illnesses across Africa, in any country in the world, really. Just whoever picks up the phone, I speak to them. So thank you very much. And yeah, so just talking about begging. So this issue of begging came up a bit of a surprise for me when I was doing a test on, so if you look at world governments, take a step back, world governments focus on the crisis on mental health. Now, if you are in an industry that calls itself mental health and you focus on a crisis, is that the best way to approach any target? Well, the best way is really to go for the best outcome, to put your energy in the best outcome, which is eradication. So the eradication of mental illnesses worldwide is not a concept that many people talk about, but I talk about it all the time because that's what we want to aim for. So I conducted a test to eradicate all the mental illnesses on the entire planet. So I utilized 5,000 people on Facebook at the beginning of the year, and I reported my findings to the World Mental Health Congress in June 20th. And I presented to 4 other international conferences, and I keep getting a lot of calls at the moment to present it again, but I've decided to stop presenting. So just in a nutshell, begging came up as the most prolific bad habit in terms of mental health across the entire world. It wasn't only Africa, it was America. Almost every single person in Africa and America begged me at some point for money while I was interviewing them for mental health. What I was really looking for is some kind of compassion out of people. And then once I got compassion, courage, and those sorts of things from them, I put them into 4 separate groups, which I'm running now for prevention of mental illness. And anybody is welcome to join those groups. I think, Ronnie, I've given you the Africa group, and it's free. And I've just put a whole lot of posts in there on how to prevent mental illnesses, ways to reduce your stress, ways to solve your problems, and everything I'm going to talk about tonight is in that group. So when begging came up so prolifically, some people were really strong about begging. They would not stop begging me. And in almost every case where begging occurred, it ended up that I could not salvage the relationship even, and I had to either cut the person off or be very strong with them to stop them from begging, so I could teach them a better way other than begging. So begging straight off raises the level of stress that you have because it's not successful. If you think about 10 people that you ask for money in your life, you probably spend about 5 minutes thinking about which person you're going to ask. So it's not very strategic. And then you just jump in and just, hey, can I have some money? So you're not using your brain very well to actually work out how you're going to get some money in a clever way. So if you look at the outcome of begging, begging has a very low outcome. So if you have those 10 people, maybe one person or two people will give you money, maybe none. Most people will just not enjoy the question of, can I have some money, please? Because there's nothing behind it. There's no thought. And if you do get some money out, you might get a few dollars and that's about it. So if you calculate, if you do a test of how many people you beg and how much money you get out, it's going to be very little. So begging on the whole, I've found to be a highly unsuccessful strategy, in terms of obtaining funds for whatever you need. So there's an alternative to that. Begging is a bit of a knee-jerk reaction, so there's not much thought goes into it. So the alternative is to use problem-solving techniques. Now, the first step in the problem-solving technique I'm going to teach you is to reduce your stress. You're in a high-stress situation, that's why you're begging for money. So the first thing is to bring your stress down. So how do we do that? So the first method that I always say is meditation. Now, meditation involves spending the time to look after yourself and put the effort in to prevent mental illness. It means you take half an hour or 15 minutes every day and you lie down on your bed and you relax and close your eyes and you listen to a meditation and you follow what that meditation says. If it says, think about this, then you think about that. It guides you to start to control your thoughts. And at first you'll find it quite frustrating, but because your thoughts are not under control. But if you persevere with it, you will find after a week or 2 weeks, you will gain more control over your thoughts. And that means that when you get into a financially stressful situation, you can control those stress thoughts better. And it gives you a much better chance of not feeling the pressure of that financial situation. So definitely the first one is meditation. Now, to find meditations, you can go onto YouTube. There's free ones. In the Africa group prevention group that I've got, there are also some paid meditations. And then I've got a very sort of high level meditation that I give out to people as and when. It's called Expand, and that's a very fancy meditation that was developed by the CIA in the 1980s, and it raises your consciousness. So you've got from the one end of the scale to the other end of the scale. So the easier method, if you haven't done meditation yet and you want a quick method of reducing your stress, and this is a great one for teaching your kids. It's called 416 breathing. So what you do with 416 breathing is if you're feeling pressure, you breathe in for 4 seconds, then you hold it for 1 second, and then you breathe out for 6 seconds. And because you're breathing out for a longer period than you're breathing in, It means that you are controlling that breath because you're focusing on the 6 seconds out. It means that your brain is focusing on your breath, and that allows you to learn to control your thoughts. Just that simple action of breathing teaches you to control your thoughts, and that's the most powerful way. Meditation works on that too, breath control. And that's the basics for stress relief, is controlling your breath. So if my kid, I was telling Ronnie earlier, if my kid falls over on his bike and he's about 500 meters away from me, I say to him, hey, Charlie, just start breathing. And he knows 416 already because I've been teaching him. Obviously, you have to teach him over and over and over because kids forget things. So he knows, even if he's just breathing in and out, not hyperventilating, but breathing slowly in and out. Then after a few seconds, his crying subsides, his pain subsides, and by the time I get to him, he's completely stopped crying. So by shouting to him, hey, breathe, and getting him in that pattern of learning to breathe, it reduces his stress very quickly. And in fact, I don't even need to put a plaster on his knee because it's the stress that's making him cry, not the cut knee. It's him seeing his cut knee that is making him cry. So for all of us, 416 breathing is fantastic. But the question is, when you are stressed, are you going to remember to do 416? So it's important that your whole family practices 416 so that if one person is stressed, you say to the other person, 416, do 416. Okay, so that's the first most important step to solving any problem, is reduce your stress. And you breathe until the stress is right down to 0. So the second step for solving any problem is then, now your mind is clear of the stress. Now you can actually look at opportunities. So this is because if you had stress in your mind and you start looking at opportunities, you might only find 1 or 2 opportunities because your mental process is very closed. You need to open your mind up and relieve that stress so you can see a lot of opportunities. And then what you do is you get out Google Maps, you get out lots of different documents, you Google things, you look up on the internet, you ask friends, you do some research about your opportunities for getting money in different ways. And the important thing to remember with this step is we brainstorming. So brainstorming is like throwing darts at a dartboard. You are just going for every single idea, no matter how crazy it sounds, you write it down. So you write every crazy idea that you've got and you don't judge them until the next step. Just write every idea, blah, 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 blah. Then what you do is you sit with your friends. This is step 3. You sit with your friends or family or a group of people and you say, we've got all these ideas. Right, what do we think of this idea? And then you try and work out a practical way to make this, maybe this wild idea that you've got, to try and make it work. But it's important that you separate those 2 steps so you have an idea generating brainstorming session, and then you have a practical session when you are finished that. And then once you've gone through and fleshed out each problem and made more sense of it, now suddenly you have 20 solutions to your problem, not 1. And yes, it takes longer, but look how many problems solving, look how many solutions you have to your problem now. And then the last step is to spend time with your group of friends or family to decide which problem you're going to select. Okay, so there's 4 steps to that. Reduce stress. Number 2, create opportunities. Number 3, flesh out the opportunities and make sense of them. And number 4, decide on one primary opportunity that you're going to go for, and maybe have a second backup plan, you know. We use this process in eradication in the test. There are a lot of people in Uganda that don't have water, that don't have food, or there are some with water, but they hadn't walked upstream and checked if their water was safe. There could be people bathing in the water upstream, putting detergents in there, and then they're drinking it, and they don't know about that sort of thing. So we had problem-solving sessions where we said, right, number 1, where's your water coming from? And they were concerned about their food, and we were saying, no, water comes first, because you will struggle for a shorter period. You will not do very well without water. If your water runs out, you'll struggle more quickly than you will with food. So that's just an idea of how we solve problems. So has anyone got any questions on that? Maybe that's a good point to just see if there's any questions.
If you have any question, you can just use the some reactions over there on your screen, and then we take them one by one. You can just raise up your hand through a reaction over there. Like, for example, if I have a question, I'll raise my hand. You can see my hand is there. And then when I'm done asking it, we lower it. So, Rosalind, do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead, Rosalind.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. We are getting you. Go ahead.
Okay, so from the discussion we've had, from the explanation, Mr. Keith, I have a question. So let's say you have calmed stuff down. Let's say maybe you are worried, sort of an idea, something you can do that's going to, but then it gets to a point, most activities that you say, maybe start up a business, to a point where you don't have the funds to start up a business, or maybe you start a business but then you're having trouble getting money. How do you go about that?
Yeah, so it's the same.
I have been
Thanks for
facing myself.
Thanks for the question. Your internet was cutting in and out, but I heard you were talking about a business and how do you solve problems around a business. So that problem solving technique would apply, it would look like this for a business. So the first thing you need to do, I'm assuming you, the business owner, is you would need to say, my level of stress is how much out of 10. So if your level of stress is maybe 8 out of 10, you're very stressed, then the first thing you need to do is reduce your stress. So that can involve meditation. I would say to everyone on the whole planet, we should all be meditating every day, regardless, because we all have stresses. And so I would recommend everyone that is listening starts meditating tomorrow. If you have the discipline or not, or if you want to text me or email me, I can help you with that. But the most important part is that first step of reducing your stress, especially when you have other people that are you are responsible for in a business. You need to reduce your stress on a daily basis or do something that reduces your stress. Tony Robbins talks about rituals. Rituals are things that like yoga, like exercise, if you do swimming, meditation, mindfulness, all of these things, and the more of those things that you do to look after yourself every day, the more you reduce your stress when very stressful times come. But if you haven't been doing those sorts of things, then the next best option is breathing. If your stress level is not that high, then you go to step 2. So that is look for opportunities. So now is the time to really scour every resource you have, to look on the internet for opportunities that might not be possible, to speak to people who are very open-minded. I mean, like myself, I think in a different way to other people. I'm happy to spend time with you just to have a chat about what opportunities you've got. I run a business myself, and it's how clever you can be with your opportunities. And also something that's very useful is if you have a coach. If you have a coach as a business leader, that's something that's very important, because if you meet up with a coach on a weekly or 2-weekly basis, then that coach will keep you on your toes. I have a coach in Germany, and I see him every few weeks, and he just takes what I've done and pulls it to pieces and gives me some better ideas of ways of working and things like that. And that's very helpful. And although I have to go back and redo a lot of things, it keeps me in the right mindset and it keeps me on the right path. So that's one avenue for creating opportunities. So in your life, you have to ask yourself, who do I have that challenges me in my area, if that's business, if it's personal? Who do I have that adds value to my generation of opportunities, my creation of new opportunities? And if you haven't got people in your life that create opportunities for you, or people that are open-minded, then look at that. Maybe you need to bring some people in or talk to some people that you know nearby and ask them to assist you with creating opportunities in your life. And then the third one, so once you've got opportunities around your problem, the next step would be to take those opportunities and then start to actually criticize those opportunities, or criticize probably a bad word, I would say, try to form them into realistic, workable solutions. Even if they look at first like they're not going to work, make an effort to try and get them to work. And don't throw the list away. This list of opportunities is very useful might be very useful at a later date. So keep your lists as you continue generating opportunities and come back to them and see if you can use some of them later, because you'll find time and time again you'll be generating opportunities for the same problems over and over. So the first time you do it will take longer to go through this process, but as you start to see rewards from this process, then you'll realize the value of creating lots of opportunities instead of just asking people for money with a knee-jerk reaction. Does that answer your question, Rosalind?
Yeah, I think Rosalind's network is breaking. And
Yeah.
Kate, we have another question here. Flo is asking, my question is, how does one find their career, path? As it's also a very high cost of anxiety. It's also a stress because you're going to school, you're studying biology, and then after studying biology, then you get to the field, and then you feel like, where in biology do I need to settle in? So how do we find our career paths? Because it's also one of the greatest anxieties that you're dealing with.
Yeah, so there's a few things to do. This is a very big discussion. So I've got a qualification in life coaching, and I became a life coach because I wanted to know exactly that question. What is my purpose in life? Where am I going in life? And how do I teach others where they're going in life? And I always say to people, especially business owners, but anyone who really is looking for that journey, is get yourself a life coach. Now, there's a lot of life coaches here in Australia. They will obviously charge Australian dollars. That won't work for you. But you get a vast spectrum of life coaches. Some will coach you on different types of systems, like they might use a personality assessment, or they might use a being profile. The one I studied was the being profile from in Genesis, and I found that to be excellent. But I would do a search on coaching and life coaching or business coaching, and also have a look on LinkedIn, and I don't know, maybe not so much on Facebook, but certainly on LinkedIn, there's a lot of coaches. The thing with life coaches is they can go right up the scale to very expensive. So just make sure you ask them, how does it work? How do you assess me? And what tools do you use to assess me when we first meet? And listen to what they say in regards to that, and it will be something that should catch your attention, that interests you in those areas, because it is a very broad topic, life coaching. But yes, so I have a life coach for my business, and I have a marketing expert as well for my business, because those are my areas that need attention. So even though I'm a life coach, I still need a life coach to keep me on my toes, a business coach. And then marketing, because I'm an engineer and a quality manager, marketing and sales is something I've never really mastered myself, and I'm learning a lot from the marketing guy. So that was really the one area for me that I identified I needed someone to help me with my marketing, so I could sell things to people in a way that they want to buy. So it's about identifying those areas in your life where you maybe don't have the skills, and then trying to plug those skills. But a life coach will, Ronnie and I were having a chat beforehand, and we were saying how people have the approach, many people in the world have a natural tendency to say, the government's not helping me, nobody's helping me. And if you listen to that language, right there, that language is blame. That's what it's called. It's called blame. So blame is when you blame someone else for your problems, right? So I have a problem, but it's because of him. So straight off the bat, the life coach will tell you you're not taking responsibility, because blame and responsibility are counterpoints. They are opposites. As soon as you start to say, I'm not going to blame the government for my mental health, I'm going to go and do meditation and prevent mental illness on my own. As soon as you change your mindset to be responsible for yourself and find out how to do that, then your life will completely change. And that is one huge, huge thing that you'll learn in life coaching. There are other things, for example, courage is a very big issue. Courage is compartmentalized. So you will have courage for public speaking. You will have courage for maybe jumping off a high cliff into the water, daredevil type things, parachuting. So courage can come in different forms. And courage is about practicing each different form so that you get good at it. I mean, you look at me, I've given 16 international medical conferences, and I tell you, before I go and give a medical conference, I'm absolutely scared to death of it. But the first one was the toughest. But what I did was I stepped myself into it. I started doing a small presentation with one friend. Then I did a presentation with 5 friends. Then I did a presentation with 50 friends. And then I did the medical conference with 1,000 people. So what you're doing there is you are getting yourself used to that pressure. And the most important thing I can teach a person in mental health is to be gentle with yourself. Always. We're always hard on ourselves. And bashing yourself is the worst thing you can do, because it just increases the pressure. But if you step yourself up gently, up those steps to get to that high level of courage, to get to that new level of taking responsibility, to change your life in slow increments like that, then you will see big differences over time in a way that doesn't create pressure on you.
So, Kate, Dorcas is asking, actually, she's apologizing for joining late, but her name is Dorcas Machia. She's a psychologist by profession. She runs a Clear Mind Psychology, and then that works with making awareness on mental health. It's 1 year now since she started it, and but she's losing it soon. The zeal is low. It's not peaking as she thought it would peak. What do you think Dorcas is not doing right that probably Dorcas should be doing, so that at the end of the day she doesn't lose this investment of in 1 minute?
Okay, in 1 minute. So, okay, so I'm assuming this is a business in Kenya. So I would say that if you're struggling, you might have to look at how many customers you're getting in the door and what your marketing looks like. That's the first thing. How are you getting your name out there? I'm not in a business, in a psychology business, but generally in marketing, it's about creating pressure in your consumer's mind to believe that they need your services. Okay, so what that looks like is you ask questions like, I'm going to just pick one that's probably not the greatest question, but you might ask a question like, do you want to have a mental illness? No, the answer is no. okay, well, come and see me. I will teach you how not to do that. So immediately you're asking a question that is going to apply it's going to be a pressure point for your targeted person. And the other thing that's very important is to understand who the exact person is. If you understand, in a video game, you have an avatar. It's like a created person that you create. It's very important to understand who your avatar is in business. So you might have an avatar and say you give it a name of Carol. So Carol might be 35 to 45. She is your target audience for the business. She's got brown hair, she's short, and she's got traumatic experiences. That is your person that you write all your content for, that avatar. And when you write in advertising, because if you market for every person in the whole world, your content won't capture everyone. You need to focus on a specific person in the market that you can attract to your business. And it's got to be the person that that comes to your business more often with your kind of, that is looking for your kind of product.
Thank you so much. I think that was well answered. I think I was taking some bit of the notes here, and really inspiring, especially, in Kenya, the rate of unemployment is rising. We have youth, we have graduates, and sometimes someone might be in a position like, hey, why can't I just start my business? And when he starts the business, then the business fails. This one kills most of us. We die out of it. Like you have invested maybe, let's say, 15,000, something that you have been saving for 10 months, and then you invest it and say, let me start this kind of business and see whether it will boom. And then within a very short time, the business goes down. Everybody is like, no, can't happen. And it's happening between the age of 23 to age of 30. So you find that everybody is just, thinking. You're thinking, nobody cares about you. Like I was saying when I was telling you, like, we come to Nairobi, some of us are in Voi, are in Nakuru, are in Kakamega, we are in these small towns within the country. Some of us, our parents and other siblings are really looking up to us. They need us to send them money, send them to school, support them financially, but nobody cares about what we are going through in these towns. Sometimes somebody does not even have enough money.
Listen, let me cut in there. Nobody cares. Okay, so this comes back to what I said earlier about blame. If you're going to wait for somebody else to care, you're going to wait a long time. You're going to wait forever, because nobody does care. The only person that cares is you. So you need to take responsibility. Everybody in Africa needs to change their mindset from going, nobody cares, to going, I'm going to bloody well do something about it myself. And I'm going to find out for myself what I need to do. And I'm going to go and do it, because if I sit here waiting, just, picking my fingers, then I'm going to be doing that in 10 years' time. It's a mentality that we need to change in Africa, I believe. But it's not only in Africa, but I see it a lot in Africa, And that kind of mentality is something that comes out in coaching. And although coaching is a lot of money to put in, it is the best money I ever spent in my life. And I'll tell you why. Now I'm going to talk about spiritual stuff quickly, okay? Because I'm a spiritual healer. I'm not a mental health. I've got no qualifications in mental health. Who's the most important person in the world? Ronnie? Who's the most important person in the world?
The most important person in the world today
is you, exactly.
It's me.
So many people say it's my kids, it's my wife, it's my this, it's my that. So if you're the most important person in the world, what did you do for yourself today? Okay, so the question is, did you enrich yourself with knowledge, or did you look outwards at the rest of the world for help? This is why begging doesn't work, because we're looking at the outside world for help. The outside world's not going to help. We need to help the most important person in the world, which is ourselves. So go and put some money into your bank. Your piggy bank is right here. Invest in your knowledge and spend your money on your knowledge and increase your knowledge and lift yourself out of Africa. That is how we are going to bring Africa out of where they are, is if each person takes responsibility for themselves. And if you need ideas, just contact me. I'll give you 10 ideas. I'll put my email here.
Okay, Kate, I think we are running out of time, but I think I'm the most important guy. I've learned about that today. I'm the most important person in the world. I give myself the best treat sometimes. I should be taking myself out, drink, take some cool dinner, come back and thank myself that, hey, you have really tried today. That is really amazing. So, people, Keith has shared.
Must someone say drink?
Sorry?
Must someone say drink?
Must
someone say drink?
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So, Kate has shared his email down there. Please just take that email. It might help you. It's not about just this session today. Take that email. Please, if you cannot reach out to him because he's a very busy man, you can tell me and then I can connect you and then you guys talk and make sure that you get something out of it. You are the most important person in the world. You there are the most important person in the world.
Okay, now I want to leave you with one more thing. Okay, this is a big question, yeah. Okay, and I think everybody must put an answer into the text box. Where is God? Where is God? Just put a quick answer into the text box. Where is God?
We have only 30 seconds to do that. Can you just do it very fast so that you can?
Inside of me. There's the answer. Okay, it's inside of me. Okay. So question 2 is God is not in heaven. God is inside you, right? God is actually everywhere, but God is inside you. So my question is, if you have the power of God inside you, what did you do with that power today? Did you wait for the government to do something for you, or did you actually go and sort your most important person in the world out with the power of God? Okay, so you got to think about these things. You got all this power. What have you done about it? Are you just moaning, or like, you got so much power? Think about it. Think about it.
I am God. I'm the most important person, and God lives in me. Hey, I can attack anything.
It doesn't mean you are God. It means you have God's power inside you. Yeah.
Amazing.
Because if you say you are God, they'll lock you in the hospital.
Okay. Victor is asking, like, how will I access all I want? Okay, wait. How will I access all I want to redeem humanity? This, I think, as at now, we might not have time to answer every question. Our time is over. Next time when we say we meet at 8, we meet at 8 so that we don't cut. This is a very good conversation that we should continue. I will be asking Kate if actually is willing to join us again, because actually these are 8 hours time difference zone. In Australia, I think it's almost 3 a.m. right?
2:30.
Yeah, it's almost 2 a.m.
2:30.
Yeah, so the time difference can be very tricky, and that is the reason as to why we need to take as shortest time as possible so that Kate can also have time to sleep from the other end as my good friend Sati and Roslyn is going to look for supper. I know they have not eaten anything. So guys, it was nice having you. It was nice having you. It was nice having you, and I thank you very much.
It was nice being here.
All right, karibu sana, Roslyn. Kate, thank you so much.
Nice.
Okay, thank you so much for coming in today. We really appreciate. I will talk with you off the discussion so that you can see which other day you can fit to come back and continue the conversation, because I think we just touched an eighth of the conversation. We have not touched anything more than that. And I will ask that you come back again, we discuss. Guys, if you're really struggling with business, there are some things that they don't teach in classes. There are things that we just learn them from people like Kate, someone like someone that has joined, a participant just like you. So it's not like you have to get them from those well-learned people, and they don't teach them in class. I know there's no jobs. I know people are really suffering out here. I am one of them. And the only best thing that we can do to each other is to share our problems. Because when I share with you, and I was almost giving up, and then I find that you are in a worse position even than me, I might not give up, and you might not give up. We move together, we share opportunities, we make sure that at least we take this one to a notch higher. So if you have any question, there's a email there, and also I'm typing my email here. You can have it so that we invite as many people as possible to our next session. We invite as many people as possible to our next session so that at least at the end of the day, we capture. This is a very good information that we should not even only share with us, but we should share with someone who probably might be needing this information. So guys, it was nice having you. Thank you so much for coming in, and we really appreciate you. Kate, do you have any last word?
Last word. Okay, I'm gonna just say two things. The first thing is language. The most important thing we can do for mental health is listen to the way we speak to ourselves. I'll give you an interesting example. If you use the word illness in your day-to-day speech, illness is a negative word, right? It can't be positive. But if you substitute the word illness for condition, I have a condition, it can be a positive condition or a negative condition. It's neutral, right? So if we start speaking to our body saying, I'm sick, I am sick, I'm sick, if you do that 10 times, you will start getting sick. And if you say, I love myself, over and over and over, you will start to feel a difference in your body. Your body responds to what you say. And a lot of the symptoms in mental illness make that situation worse, because people feel unwell, their thinking goes down, their language goes down, and that's when they get really sick, because their language starts to tell their body they are sick. So I want you to, over the next few days, listen to the words that come out of your mouth and change them to use healthy words. And if you want to choose words that relate to water words. So instead of, I am sitting in this chaos, I am going down a rapid. That's a water word. Okay. So you can search on Google water words and then choose your words that you want to use in your vocabulary and improve your vocabulary just one word at a time. Don't change your whole vocabulary. 5 words and change the words that you use every day. Okay.
Thank
And
you.
the last thing is with mental illnesses, if anybody has any mental illness, I will be able to address that. So just look me up on Messenger on Facebook. That's where I really have most people coming to me. And I just text people, and it takes me very quickly, as long as they're coming back to me. The time difference is a little bit difficult, but we just text the one day and the next day, and within a few days they're feeling better. So I charge $97 for any mental illness, just to talk it out.
Okay.
And I'm using spiritual healing. Yeah,
All right.
that's it.
We cannot finish everything, Kate, today, and we need you next
Yeah.
time again. Please don't. Hey guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And next time on Tuesday, just put it on your calendar and a reminder. Tuesday, every Tuesday from 8 to 8:40. Let's be here and let's make sure that at least we learn. I might surprise you with another speaker alongside Keith, so you never miss this, because LinkedIn is one of the tools that probably we should be maximizing. Go to LinkedIn, create an account, and if you cannot create an account, please just holler me. I will advise you on how to create an account and build your profile, and you keep connecting. We have never met with Kate, but here we are. It's because of LinkedIn. So, guys, thank you so much, and see you next Tuesday. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye. But make us meet Kate.
All right.
Bye. Bye.
Welcome to Kenya. Welcome to Kenya. Bye.
Okay, you come to Australia.
We'll come.